So here we are, the Talent Tank, live from Lasertown with the man, Cody Waggoner. How are you, Cody?
Doing good. Doing good.
So King of the Hammers 2020.
2020.
Yeah, we're on the lake bed, and we just survived the Super Bowl plus a ridiculous windstorm last night.
Yeah, it was blowing pretty good.
It was blowing something else. Well, you have been so gracious as to extend the Talent Tank carte blanche access to Lasertown down here south of Hammertown for filming this week and recording. Thank you.
You're welcome.
This place is amazing.
Thanks for thinking of Lasertown.
And everyone that we've had in here for interviews has just been floored by how cool this place is.
It's where dreams come true.
So what's the story here?
The story of Lasertown. Well, it all started when a buddy, an acquaintance off-roader, said, "Hey, do you want to buy some private property out at the Hammers?" I said, "Where's their private property? There's no private property out there. It's BLM land." Well, come to find out, there's 10, 20, 40-acre parcels. I think there's about 20 of them that no one really has developed. And it was a 10-acre parcel. The guy didn't pay his property taxes. It was at auction, and it was $3,200 if no one bids. So there's 4 partners. It was at an $800 buy-in to the 10 acres. I'm like, okay, cool. So I gave him $800, and we had this 10 acres of dirt out of the Hammers. And from there, we went out there and surveyed the 4 corners, 660 by 660, 10 acres. And we're like, okay, what are we going to do now? Well, let's put a fence around it. No one wanted to spend any money on a fence. And plus, it would kind of block the beauty. Let's do a berm. You know, sometimes you see those berms out in the middle anywhere, so out in the middle of the desert. So we got some heavy equipment, moved all the sagebrush out of the way, and made this berm. And then it turned in to a sand pit. I mean, literally, you couldn't drive. It was a sand pit. There's so much sand out here. It's like Glamis, just pure sand. So we brought a water truck in, and we made a wagon wheel, and had King of the Hammers, and we always had this prevailing wind that would blow to the east. I'm so bad with direction. But anyways, I got one container because I was tired of my RV getting just thrashed when the wind would come up, sandblasted. So I bought this one container, and we parked it, and that's where we kept all our crap that I hate taking back and forth from the desert, the wood and all the stuff that you lug out and you lug back in. It's just so annoying over the last 25 years. So we put that in the container, and it just snowballed from there. So one container, and then after that, we set up our big tents for King of the Hammers, carpet, sandbags, the whole thing. 2 hours later, sitting at the fire, the effing wind comes up like it did last night. Tent's just completely gone. And I'm like, okay, we're not gonna have tents this year for King of the Hammers because I'd have 6 guys set up these bitchin' tents, and the tents were just destroyed. So I'm like, well, if I get 2 more containers and make a U-shape, I have a laser cutting facility. We can cut out all the parts, build some trusses. So we built the 40 by 40 container, which is out there now. Little shop out there. And that was our tents. And then from there, we was like, oh, well, we need some water. I'm tired of trucking in water because I wanted trees. There's no trees out here.
No, none.
So
we do have a few. You've planted them.
Yeah.
Right?
We put a couple pine trees, and I forgot a couple trees. I'm not real good with tree names, but we did get the trees. So we put the well in, and 2 partners wanted it out because my ambition or money spending or whatever you want to call it
was outpacing their interest.
They were not, and they're in a different part. Things change. So I had to buy 2 of them out. So I had one partner, and one Thanksgiving we had an issue and whatnot. So I bought him out too. So I learned a lot about partnerships. A lot. Don't have partnerships. If you cannot have a partnership, people change.
They do.
Their wives get involved. The life gets in the way. Kids happen. It's not, it could be all roses, and then 3 years later, it's not the same. People go different directions. So partnerships, I strongly don't recommend it. It was really a rough situation. So anyways, own the property. I'm like, okay, well, we come out here almost 2 months a year. 60 days for Christmas, for Thanksgiving. Let's put a house out there. Well, we can't put in any normal house like a manufactured home, which would have been a lot easier.
Yeah, right.
We need something that
Robust.
someone's
and
not
secure.
going. Yeah, secure. That's the key word. Because right over the hill in Landers, well, anywhere out here, there's people that.
Nefarious individuals looking for free handouts.
Well, yeah, I mean they're on a substance.
Yeah.
They when the money runs out,
It's an
they have
epidemic
to
in this
go.
country.
Yeah, it's terrible.
And these small communities are just laced with it. I mean,
Yeah.
I say laced. They've been fleeced by it.
So we got a couple containers on my work. I have 2 acres behind my work, and we put these big beams up. We're on the container house now. Put these big beams up, got the containers, put them on the beams, leveled them up the best we can, and I wanted to do 2 stories. Well, 2 stories logistically is a pain because you need stairs and ceiling. So we said, you know what, let's just do 10 long. It's 3,200 square feet. So we put 10 containers, started cutting the walls out, and a lot of people think, oh, just buy a container and make a container house. It's not that easy. It's
actually more expensive than building a traditional home.
Yeah, figure double of a traditional home in money, time, and effort. It's a lot of work.
But at the end of the day, you have a
End of the day, this thing is
robust.
Sick. I didn't even hear the wind blowing last night. I mean, it is so quiet. It's so well insulated. We did underestimate insulating the floors. We didn't insulate the floors when we first put it in, and it was 32 degrees outside. Well, the floor is 32 degrees.
Oh, it'll freeze your feet.
So we did a foam insulation, and now we're good. But yeah, it was 32 degrees, well, mid-30s last night, and it was 70 degrees in here.
In this place, I mean, just looking around, it's nicer than most homes. It's gorgeous. It's sitting here, you wouldn't even realize that you're in a container.
And that's the feel I love having my family. I'm not it's not a bachelor pad. I love having my 4-year-old, my 14-year-old, mother-in-law, friends. It's all about being comfortable. And when that wind comes up, or it snowed 4 inches a month ago out here for Christmas, or it rains, or whatever the case may be, it's nice to be able to come in, have some space, not be on top of each other, and enjoy it. If you aren't comfortable, at least for me and my family, you aren't going to want to go. I mean, my family looks forward to going out to the middle of the desert, in the middle of nowhere, and have fun.
And just getting away.
Just getting away.
What I found really cool talking to Jason Shear recently was you open up your home regularly. And so Jason was talking about coming out here and testing and tuning before KOH. And you were like, hey, you're going to grab a shower? And Jason's like, You're like, well, it's, hot water. And he's like, wait, a hot water shower? Yeah, I could be lured into that. But so getting out here and seeing you are like the nicest, friendliest guy in the world. You've got a ton of friends out here that come out for these things, and so they've got their RV setups, they've got their race setups. There's a handful of racers that race out of your compound and
Correct.
are set up here, and it's really cool that you open your house up to this community, to friends and the friends that have developed, and it's like, again, you opened it up to us, and
well, that's what it's all
grateful.
about. It's all about sharing the experience, and if you just keep it all to yourself, there's no fun in that. There's no.
And where's the memories there?
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Well, how we got here is pretty amazing. We talk about family, community, but family, you have continued to expand this because of how much your family enjoys coming out here.
Yeah, I made it. So I used to camp over on the other side of Boone Road, and the worst thing about it is you don't know if you're going to have a spot, especially at King and the Hammersweek. You don't know who you're going to camp next to. And we're pretty protective parents. I don't want my kid to get ran over, because typically when someone comes out to the desert, it's like free for all. I am away from the house. I'm gonna drink. I'm gonna have a good time, and hopefully I remember it the next day. That's just a lot of people's view things, and we've been doing this for 30 years, and I've never been that. Just it hasn't been me. I mean, I enjoy coming out, having a good time, and the family being safe. I've seen a lot of things over the years, people getting killed, ran over. It was just a safe place. My kid can go out the house and drive her quad and have a good time. There's no nails. I groom it every day, which it's kind of my Zen garden.
That.
It's kind of
that.
That's like my downtime is driving my truck around and getting rid of all the tracks. It's weird, but That's just me.
No, like the little guys, like the Mr. Miyagi and his bonsai tree. And so I'd heard about this. I'd heard like Cody's place, it's always immaculate, and he keeps it immaculate. And I equate it to when you vacuum a room and you vacuum your way out of the room so that there's no footprints and steps.
You say that.
And then you realize you left your keys on the other side of the bed. You got to walk over there, and you leave these footsteps, and you're like, oh, I got to get the vacuum out to get that. Well, that
might be a childhood addition. You just brought something up. I just thinking about, there was one room when I was a kid that was vacuumed with lines that you could not go in. And if I ran in it, it was the family room, living room, the living room. And it was that room. So maybe that's why I have this whole line issue. That's funny. I
don't know. I'm a little bit OCD on stuff, and I see what you're doing, and I'm fully behind it. So much to the sense. No, Cody keeps all of the sand very groomed. It looks like a freshly vacuumed rug. Yeah. There's no tracks.
That's funny.
And so once I realized that Cody groomed it, it made sense. He's got his very amazing Raptor with a drag behind it, and you just put around and drag out. So as soon as I saw that you do that, I stopped making new tracks. I started trying to drive in on either someone else's tracks or drive out on my own tracks. Funny. So because I know, I'm like, wow, I get it. Like I totally see where you're at on that. And then it started making sense to me the several times that we've talked on the phone, because you're not a big texter. You're good. You're amazing on social media. Your social media presence is awesome. And the stuff that you show on social media is right up my alley. But yeah, we've had conversations on the phone, and I've always felt like you were just sitting in your truck idling in traffic. And then to see, I'm like, I bet he was out here, put it on the Bluetooth, and just.
Yeah, well, the cell coverage isn't real good around the property, but I drive 45 minutes to work and 50 minutes home every day. So that's kind of my downtime. So that's probably when I was talking to you.
To catch up.
Yeah.
So you guys live, I mean, it's not an insane far drive from here, but you guys live down in San Clemente.
Yep.
And you've lived there whole life?
No, we actually lived inland in Yorba Linda when I was 3 years old until I was born in Whittier, California, and lived in Yorba Linda from 3 to 15. And then my dad really loved the ocean and loved going to Catalina Island and the ocean. So we moved down to San Clemente when I was 15, went to San Clemente High School, graduated in 94, and pretty much was a surf bum. I had long hair in the middle of my back. I was never going to get a job.
I think I'm going to need to see pictures of this
at some point. We got them. And I would surf every day. I'd be in the water 6 to 8 hours a day. Lindsey, she's my high school sweetheart who I'm married to, and she would sit on the beach and take pictures all the time, and I was going to just be a surf bum. Why work? This is great.
This is life.
And then I got a job at Price Club, or Costco now.
Okay.
And I had to cut my hair, because you had to look presentable.
Right.
And
not
went
a hippie.
from there. But and I've always worked for my father too. So anyways, yeah, San Clemente is my hometown, and we still live there. Small little community called Capistrano Beach.
Okay.
And we love it. The older I get, the more I feel it'd be nice to get away from all the people. Because when I was a kid, I didn't really notice it, I guess. But now there's more. I think I enjoy the being away from it all.
The solemnness out here,
yeah.
Or at least the ability to escape it every now and then. Or
it's nice because when you come out here, not on King and the Hammersweek, it is quiet. It is like eerie quiet. Like you can hear the pine tree, the wind blowing, and the stars are amazing, and it's really cool.
Well, I want to take a little tangent on that quietness. This has been a handful of years ago. I was coming down Spooners with a bunch of guys pre-running. I want to say maybe it was 13, somewhere in that era, and I lost a fuel pump. We didn't have spare fuel pumps, so the guy that was riding with me got in with somebody else, and they ran all the way back to Hammertown from Spooners. That's quite a drive. And they were bombing, but it was very warm out. The sun had heated up the rocks. I'm laying down on a rock, and once they motored out of earshot, it became deafeningly quiet. It's crazy how much white noise is in your life at all times. And outside of that, you put yourself in a vacuum with no noise. And there was no wind, no noise. And my ears actually almost started to hurt. Look around. and I fall asleep on this rock, only to be woken up maybe 30 minutes later by some of the Marine base, find a couple helicopters down the valley floor. I woke up, I watched them for a little bit, and I fell back asleep.
That's great.
Laying on a rock out by Spooners, and then those guys made it back with the fuel pump. We changed the fuel pump left, but the thing that floored me was I can't think of another time previous to that or post that I've ever been in such a quiet place. So quiet that it was definitely quiet.
Yeah, that's cool.
And we've heard people say definitely quiet, never experienced it until, I don't know. Amazing. But we'll jump back to San Clemente, and you mentioned where you went to work, having to cut your hair, but your father had a pretty big business. You guys were into industrial equipment, I believe, making powder coating systems.
Yeah. My father started industrial process equipment, IPE, which is the parent company of LaserNet. LaserNet, we made a division of that company, and we built powder coat systems and put them all over the world. And powder coat systems for office furniture like Steelcase, wheel lines like Prime Wheel, and Boyd wheels. You name it. We've done a lot of work, and it was great for about 20 years. Then when 2000 hit, we were able to buy a building because we rented a building for 20 years because we could never afford one. So we bought this building, 32,000, the one we're in today, and my dad would always say we need to diversify, and equipment kind of went dead. Man, there was way too much surplus of powder coating equipment. Manufacturing was going to overseas, going to Mexico, so there just was no equipment to build. So we were on our way to a rock crawling competition because my dad used to spot for me, and that was 2006. And we got to the rock crawling competition. He's all, son, I think we're going to buy a laser. And I'm like, what is a laser? Oh, it's something you cut metal out with. Like, okay, cool. Well, when are we going to get it? So we got this laser used because we couldn't afford a new one. So we bought this used Mazak 1500 watt laser. We spent a year learning how to run it. And in 2007, we all got back into the board meeting, leadership meeting, the five of us, and we're like, okay, who's going to go get the work? Okay, well, I'm not doing the equipment stuff, so I'll start going.
Raise your hand.
Yeah, I raised my hand. I said, I'll go get it. So I started going door to door, literally door to door, and that was when the recession was. It was a pretty good recession.
07, 08, and leading into the first quarter of 09 was bad for most of the country.
It was pretty bad. So
foreclosure rates off the charts.
So luckily, my dad, he always saved for a rainy day. That's what he always say. He always make sure you save for a rainy day, son. Make sure you have some money in the bank, so you can, when that rainy day comes, you can get through it. And he's always done that. So we got through it, and started going door to door and made a stupid little postcard up and sent them out. Got the CIS codes of certain companies that made product and sent them all out to them. Got customers that way, and then I started hitting up my sponsors for rock crawling, and a lot of my sponsors needed laser cutting. So one of the big thing was exhaust flanges, and then one of the things I did, I still find it hilarious, is I went to a competitor's website, and the competitor lists all his references of all the companies he does work for. I'm like, cool, I'll start.
That's a call list.
Making the call list. So as soon as I started getting the work, it was hilarious. I started getting the work from the call list. I went back to that website like 6 months ago, and that list wasn't there anymore.
I can see that.
And it's always, so the 1500 watt laser had a hell of a time cutting out 3/8 flanges because it's only 1500 watts. So it's like, hey, Dad, I think we need to get a bigger, powerful laser. So in 2009, we got a 4,000 watt brand new laser, and it cut out flanges like butter. And then it kind of turned into like, well, if that laser goes down, we're out of business. So we probably ought to get another one. So then 2010, we got our third one. And then 13, we got our fourth one. And then 15, we got our fifth one. So we still had the 5 lasers. One of the things I need to focus on the next couple of years is going to new technology, which is a fiber laser. We have CO2 lasers, and they're more efficient. They cut faster. and we're definitely going to need to go to the new laser. The cut quality just isn't there just yet, so I've been waiting for it to get a little better. But we'll be able to replace 2 of our CO2s with one of those.
And more efficient.
More efficient, less power, less consumables. It's just a better mousetrap.
And at the end of the day, the finish on it is better, and it's like able to pull right out and use and be welded. Or
right now, they still have a little burr on.
Curve.
That's why we haven't. No, it's not a curve. It's a burr on the bottom of the part. So they're like, oh well, you can do a secondary process, and like I don't want to do right now. Our parts come off, and you count them, and they all go off to the customer. So the technology is it always gets better.
We'll get there.
So I'm just waiting for that.
That's awesome. And so, what happened in you guys sitting in a meeting in a boardroom with you raising your hand and you and this used laser that your dad had picked up in this 32,000 square foot facility, 2006, 2007, starting this business going into the recession. How many employees do you have today?
We have 65 employees.
That's just absolutely amazing. Job creation right there at its finest.
Yeah, I think when we had like 10, and then we run 2 shifts. We run 24 hours a day if need be. We're not afraid of overtime. A lot of companies, laser companies, their backlog's 40. Most of them are 4 to 6 weeks out. We pride ourselves on if you want something laser cut, you get it in 3 to 5 days, which is a quick turnaround time. If you want something laser and bent, it's 5 to 7 days. And our quality is we pride ourselves on quality. We have no salespeople. I guess I'm the salesperson. I still
a good one though.
Do it here and there, but it's not like we have a sales force or marketing. The marketing's more of living a lifestyle and being part of the community. That's kind of where I've taken that.
And what is the main focus or industry that you guys service to?
Mainly the aftermarket car or automobile industry. A lot of off-road parts, bumpers, skid plates, flanges, suspension arms. A lot of the guys running the King of the Hammers this weekend, they have a lot of my parts that
came off of
that we
your
touched.
tables.
You know,
yeah,
it's cool.
No, I've seen that. Like from all the suspension manufacturers for the bolt-on stuff to even the high-end stuff. A guy can go, design his part, email it into LaserNet. You guys burn it and ship it back to them.
Yeah,
and 5 to 7 days for a bent part. It's amazing.
Yeah, we got a few jobs out here that people are going to come pick it up from Laser Town.
I mean, what amazing service that is. No, I think that's really, really cool that so many, that you have your hand and your fingerprint on, or let's say LaserNet DNA is on so many vehicles out here this week.
Yeah, and the one thing that I'm really proud of is I really wanted to make it a goal to make cool trophies, and we make all the trophies for Ultra 4, which is this beautiful piece of aluminum that's
killer. That's
TIG welded and laser cut and bent and laser etched. It's really bitchin'. We aren't making in the first place. Monster, I believe, took care of that this year for King of the Hammers, but the seconds and the thirds and
when you see any of the pictures from any of the photogs afterwards,
yeah, the ones those big,
and they're holding them up. And I interviewed Cody Addington not long ago, and Cody has a shelf directly behind his desk in his house of all of his trophies, and he even has a story that people say, "Aren't you going to put those somewhere?" And he goes, "When I'm done looking at them." Because they're beautiful works. So you talked about rock crawling and going after your sponsors for expanding your business. How did you get into wheeling? How did you get into rock crawling? You're heavily accomplished, world champion on multiple years in the crawling scene. How did that happen?
Well, it's pretty funny. So I had this reliable 1988 Toyota pickup truck that I drove in high school. And my buddy, Mike Edwards, he had this CJ7 Jeep. And he'd always say, you really need to get a Jeep, Cody. You need to come out to the desert. And I'm like, no, I'm good. So anyways, he somehow convinced me to sell my reliable Toyota pickup truck, sold it, got $4,500 for it, and bought this piece of shit 1971 CJ5 Jeep for $4,500. And
do you still have it today?
Oh yeah.
I figured
I would have sold it. My wife said you're not selling it, so I still have it.
She is amazing. By the way, so Cody's wife has been amazing. She made my coffee this morning, So sweet, and then
Yeah.
to find out that you guys are high school sweethearts.
She's
like,
the better.
I'm not
She's the
surprised.
better half of me. You know, you got to have a good partner in crime to
Absolutely.
do, live life and
Support you and make you the man you are.
Yeah, she's
and-
always supported me and she's a great wife, great partner in crime.
And then, as we saw a little bit ago, Cody's daughter came and joined us for a little bit. She's something else too.
She's. Hopefully, she's going to be my driver. My 14-year-old, she's in the ballroom dancing and has no interest at all, which is fine, in rock crawling or anything. But Lacey, I'm hoping she loves to ride her quad and racer, and I'm hopefully she'll be my driver.
Don't count the 14-year-old out. I mean, as you said, like when we were talking about the partnerships, people change.
Yeah,
and
she wants to
interests
play
change.
pool. She wants to learn how to play pool. So maybe she's going to be a barfly when she grows up or something.
So you got into rock crawling through the CJ5.
Yeah, so CJ5, bought the CJ5, went out to this huge event called Terra del Sol. It still goes on, GDS. And they have these notches and hills, and I'm like, man, this is really cool. You go out here, you throw a tent up. That's when we actually tented, and back in the, when was it, 90s, yeah, or mid-90s. And I saw this guy, and he was all twisted up with his yellow flat fender bitchin' Jeep. And I'm like, man, who's that? Oh, that guy's crazy. He rolls over every year, and he goes up the hills and flips. And I'm like, who is? Oh, it's Jason Bunch. I'm like, oh, Jason Bunch. He owns Tri-County Gear, and he's an old timer now. But I went there to Tri-County Gear, got an SM420 transmission so I can go real slow, and a Detroit locker in the rear. And I spent enough money with Tri-County Gear. He invited me out to a customer appreciation at the Hammers. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. So I went out there in 1994, and we went over to Sledgehammer, and he walked me through the entire trail Sledgehammer. I had no power steering, 35-inch tires, and a posi in the front. And I learned how to wheel from Jason Bunch walking me through the trail. And then I think we did Clawhammer also. And I fell in love. I'm like, this is bitching. I've never been that guy that they'll go out to the desert or go anywhere, go to a bar and just drink beer and hang out. I don't understand it really. I've always have to be doing something. And that was like, you go to a trail and you got to get 10 vehicles or 20 vehicles through the trail. It's an all-day event. People breaking, tires popping. It was just bitching. So I slowly built my Jeep up in the mid-90s. And then I saw these rock crawling competitions popping up. And Jason was really good at the rock crawling. Him and Kevin Hawkins and the Currys and Twisted Custom, Jason Pauly, and I went to one of those events. I'm like, man, this is really cool. And they didn't have a modified stock class, and I couldn't afford a buggy. So in 2001, they came up with a modified stock class, and I went down to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and we got second place. I beat Frank Curry of Curry Enterprises. I'm like, wow, that was cool. I mean, he had this red, it was always really cool equipment, and they're like, they know how to rock crawl.
They do.
Like, man, we might be pretty good at this. So my dad was spotting. He would spot me. I mean, we'd have a father-son freaking yell match.
Butting heads.
Oh yeah, because he's a red and I'm a red, and we just pound. He's like, you took me into that cone. One time he knocked the cone over. He actually walked into it. And I was like, yeah. So we don't pound heads as much. He's kind of mellowed out over the years. And I mellowed out too. But so we got third or second place. And I'm like, man, maybe we're pretty good at this. So we started doing all the competitions in that little yellow Jeep, 83-inch wheelbase, sprung under, narrow leaf springs. It was just this cute little yellow Jeep that somehow got up these things that it should not have had no business on. So we modified it. We were losing competitions because we couldn't do a front burn. So, we had to put an Atlas in. So I remember the late nights in the garage, putting the Atlas in and getting the belly up higher and, doing little tricks here and there. And it's kind of snowballed into getting sponsors. At one point, Lindsey was doing the marketing. We got Detroit Locker. They came and they liked our whole team and everything. And Detroit Locker we were the Detroit Locker guys. And we were actually making money because you never would break any parts. I was real conservative. I wasn't that guy that, just go for it and hopefully you make it. We were pretty you could stack rocks. Let's just put it that way. I'd stack a shitload of rocks. I'd stack 5 minutes of rocks. Because, you know, the guys with the 100-inch wheelbase, they could get up on the ledge. And my little 83-inch wheelbase, it doesn't get up on the ledge. I had to make a road. But it's part of the rules. So
you're more strategy than force.
Yeah, way more strategy. Even today, it's like, yeah, they're going to hit that cone and possibly roll. I'll probably go this route and let them screw up. I mean, it just, more of a strategy. That's what I loved about it.
And so you've morphed into now amazing rock crawler, amazing moon buggies. You graduated into moon buggies, and then your current one is a Jesse Haynes fab car.
Correct.
Pretty penny.
Yeah.
It's like when you rolled that car out with the penny copper wheels, it was pretty flooring.
It's pretty cool. It's there's no way to trick out or make a moon buggy sexy. So I saw these copper wheels on a motorcycle. You know, those motorcycle guys. I'm like, man, no one's ever done a copper wheel in rock crawling. I'll go down to the chrome shop, because that's where you get your stuff chrome too, is where they do the copper plating, and see what it takes. So I went down there, and it's quite a process. They have to polish the wheel. They have to copper plate the wheel. They have to then polish it again, and then they liquid clear coat it. I mean, it's a major process. So anyway, they turn out bitching.
Oh, they're solidly bitching. That's a good name for them.
Became known for that. So back to the early 2000s, in 2006, I'm like, man, I really want to step up to the unlimited class. And rock crawling was kind of dying off. You know, there's only some big names. So I stepped up and I hit up Mitch Guthrie, Sr., and he had a Shannon Campbell moon buggy, the first one that Shannon Campbell ever built. And I bought that in 2006 and competed in that moon buggy from 2006 to 2009, won a bunch of events. And then in 2009, now mind you, Laser Nut started in 2007. Rock crawling was kind of dying, and I haven't done any recreational wheeling since 2000. So I'm like, well, let's focus on the business and let's go recreational wheeling. So I sold the moon buggy, and I've always wanted a twisted custom a buggy. So I bought this 4-seater twisted custom rig and started coming out the hammers. And a lot of the trails I've never wheeled because I was always competing. So we started wheeling all the trails, and then we started making our own. I love making trails. I love going up a canyon that no one's ever been up. That's just
and figuring it out.
That is so much fun. And then I started focusing on the company from 2009 to 13, built the company up. And that's when I never went to King of the Hammers. Never.
Oh, wow.
Never. I'd watch it online. I'd see who won, because I knew if I went, I'd want to build a car.
Look.
I either drive a car, I got to have it, so I don't drive a car. You know, Cameron Steele, he wants me to go drive his trophy truck, and I don't want to drive a trophy truck because I don't need a trophy truck. So, anyways.
I like Kim so much right now.
So in 2000, let's see, back to dates. So yeah, I focused on rock crawling, family, and work. 13, went to the King of the Hammers. Randy Slauson won that year. What do we do? Hey, Randy, can you build me 2 bombers?
One for you, one for your dad.
One for me, one for my dad. So he built 2 bombers, went to King of the Hammers in 2014, got a top 20. And then the next year, I got a top 10. My dad finished also. And that's when I said, man, I will never beat Randy Slauson in a bomber. I mean, he built the car. He knows the car, and he's fast. And I always joke around. Driving 80 miles an hour, driving a forklift is just not me. The car just goes I got to have something that I can take my hand off the wheel at 80 and it just do its thing. So I hit up Armada Engineering, who I was doing laser cutting for, and we came up with this crazy out-of-the-box car.
Technology forward.
They're really innovative and will listen to everything you wanted to do. I wanted it no axles, independent front and rear. And it's the car we have today. We've had a lot of hurdles, we'll call it, over the last 3 years with the car.
Prototypical.
Yeah, prototypical. That's one thing I don't like doing anything new, because there's you have to prove it out.
Yep.
And that's why we went with the bomber. I mean, I still have the bomber, my dad's, and it just works. So when you go something new, we've done a lot of work to get it to where it is today. But today, very confident. Anyways, I got that car. DNF the first race, shouldn't have been at King of the Hammers. It actually showed up on the lake bed like the day before. I mean, it was not proven. We got to the third lap, fried a harness. The next year, we got a top 10. I think it was 8th. The year after that, lost the timing chain. Last year, we got to second lap and broke we broke. I don't want to go into that, but we broke. So this year, we've made everything better, got more horsepower. Cameron's been learning how to rock crawl.
We jumped in that. Yeah, so you actually aren't going to be in the car this year. You brought in a driver, Cameron Steele, trophy truck guy.
Yep.
That we met out here. We came in the gate with him this morning, and then is Wayne Israelson co-driving for him?
Yes, sir.
And Wayne, I mean, if you listen to the Talent Tank, Wayne was episode 11. I've known Wayne since the late 2000s. Amazing individual, and even our camera guy, when we were talking about Wayne, he goes, All-Tech Wayne? I know All-Tech Wayne. So Wayne's the guy.
Yeah, we got quite a team. I mean, you couldn't have any better of a co-driver. Wayne, he's been part of winning Baja 1000s to rock crawling and knowing the hammers like the back of his hand, and just an all-around good guy. He's just a good guy. And Cameron, same thing. You know, I did it for 6 years, and I said this year, I just want to sit back. They called me a team owner, so it's actually been great. I just no stress, a little bit, but I get to hang out with my family and enjoy the experience. And I've been doing this for 25 years, for a long time. And
no, I think what you're doing is really cool. I mean, it's to sound almost redundant on talking about on the other shows about like NASCAR stuff where the guys go from being drivers or whatever to being team owners and being successful as a team. I look at you, and that's what you're doing. You're setting up yourself with the car, the technology, and the people to put the entire team on the box now.
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, we got to have some luck for sure. We had an instance earlier in the week where the car caught fire, and we just got it back today. And it just seems like you got to have a little bit of good luck, and everyone has to be on point that day, and go from there.
I know when people have said, and you guys came out, that Cam Steele is going to be driving the car. A lot of people are like, oh, you put this trophy truck driver in there. He's not going to know what to do. Cam Steele is no slouch and rookie or neophyte to the Hammers. He was here in 2008 for the 2008 King of the Hammers. He was a co-driver in that race. Or at least I believe he was a co-driver in that race. He was at the 2008, which is 07 was the OG13. This is truly the first organized year of it, 2008. Cam Steele was there, and he's been here almost every year since, just not necessarily in the driver's seat. And then this week, how many races did he race this week?
Well, he's done one. He did the Can-Am. That didn't go too well. And then he's racing with Bailey Cole.
In the EMC. And then he's racing his truck, the trophy truck race on Thursday. And then he'll be in the 4400 race on Friday.
And then Saturday, King of the Motos.
King of the Motos. I mean, this guy's a glutton for punishment. He's
when he commits, he fully commits. I mean, I was really worried that, he said, oh, yeah, we're going to go out to the and I'll learn. And it was starting to get later in the year before. And I'm like, man, we're not going to do it. I'm like, dude, we need to go out and do it or you're not driving the car.
Right.
So he got in the car. And he takes the whole thing in. He does it on the motorcycle. He does it in the passenger seat.
He can read lines.
He can read lines. He's going to have to tone it back from driving a trophy truck, or you will break this car. It only has so much.
It's not necessarily a desert sledgehammer.
No,
it's
but
a finesse vehicle.
If they have a good day and they use their head, they're going to get through it. They just got to finish. Well, if they finish, they'll get a top 10.
For sure. And with Wayne in the passenger seat, he's going to talk Cam down off of a million.
I hope so.
Million cliffs. I think they're there. No, I'm really excited for where they're going. And before people start hitting me up and say, you need to carry Cam Steele, you need to interview Cam Steele, Cody set Cam and I up before the Baja 1000 this fall to make it happen. We almost had it happen. There's just situations and family instances where we weren't able to flange up. And then we were going to do Cam this week, and then schedules didn't match up again. And then coming in the gate this morning with Cam rolls up to my truck. So it's him and his Raptor pre-runner and me and my Chevy pre-runner. And he's like, we roll down the windows and we're looking at each other. And he's like, Cody told me I got a pre-run, no interviews.
Yeah, it's
bitch and truck, and we're gonna do it.
Yeah, the pre-running is a little more important. It's getting down to
Absolutely.
the nitty gritty. So this is one of the last days to pre-run, and he needs to get out there and pre-run. So that's the goal, to know where they're going and what their plan is.
Yeah, it's we rolled in at the plan was to be with you at 6:30 in the morning for sunrise, and we are. It's 28 degrees outside and sunrise, and as Caleb and I were leaving out of Hammertown, getting in the truck to come from Hammertown, just this couple miles south. There were big cars fired up and already on course, pre-running, just as the sun was starting to come up, because exactly today's Monday, and this is your last shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Cody, did we cover kind of the gamut of what you want to talk about today?
Yeah, so
yeah, that's right. So we've talked about Cam a bunch. A lot of people do know him as a trophy driver, Desert Assassins, and everything that is. But how on earth did you guys meet, flange, and get going? And I know some of the stories. So.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. One thing about myself is if I see something and want something, not that I want Cameron, but if I see something,
he's a sexy dude. What is he? He's 50.
Yeah,
he looks good for 50.
Yeah, he does.
And he's going to race 5 races this week. One of them's a motorcycle race. This guy.
No, but if I said okay, we're doing this, that I am set. We're doing that. I mean, on anything, on any level. So anyway, sitting on the couch one weekend and saw X Games trail missions. I've seen it a couple years. And I'm like, never been to Baja. Looks like a lot of fun. I mean, there's kids and they're going to the beach and they're cruising in the dirt and they're having a good time. So I go to my Facebook and I type in Cameron Steele, and I knew who Cameron Steele was as the commentating and desert racing.
He's commentated for King of the Hammers for a bunch of years.
Yeah, and but I've seen the magazine. I remember this one magazine. Him, his wife Heidi, and their dog, and they're at in front of their house, which they live in San Clemente. Also, I knew they were in San Clemente, and it was just a cool picture. Anyways, I think it was in Dirt Sports, or maybe another magazine. But anyways, I hit him up. I said, "Hey, your trail emissions thing looks really cool. I probably need to buy a Raptor, and I'd love to go on it." And he sends back, "Well, get with Desert Assassins." Oh, Desert Assassins! I'm like, that sounds crazy, right? I mean, kind of intimidating, right? At least to me. So I'm like, "Well, aren't you Desert Assassins?" And he's like, "Yeah, but you need to send it." I'm like, "Okay." So I sent it there, and somehow we start talking, and he had to vet me in, call a few people and
did have to vet you.
And make sure I was not just some guy who didn't know anything. And I bought a Raptor, and come to find out, he drives by my house to go to work every day.
20 years.
For 20 years. And I never knew it. And he knew Laser Nut. He knew the rock crawler sitting on the side of the house, but the worlds are so small, but it's so crazy how you just don't ever meet up. So it was funny. We just went on trail missions with my 3-year-old, my 13-year-old, my wife Lindsey. First time in Baja ever. I mean, I've gone to Tijuana or Mexicali looking at jobs, but not Baja. And man, this is really cool. So we did that, and then the second day on that trip, my truck broke. I'm like, oh, I guess I'm done. Okay, let's go back. He shipped my truck back and had one of his guys get another truck, and then he gave me his monster long travel truck. Well, that was another bad decision because my truck didn't have long travel, and the next trail missions, which we got invited on, which was cool, without the one with Jason Shear, I had to put a long travel kit on my truck, which is great. But anyways, that we kind of brothers, I've never been he's a celebrity. People are people. Dude. People put on their pants the same way every day, and we're kind of brothers. We kind of have fun.
Well, I'd heard this story Chris Cabrera told me this story about you when you got your Raptor, and Chris was like, oh, when you gonna get some fiberglass fenders for it and long travel, and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna keep it stock. And then he goes, does it look stock today? I go, no, that thing is awesome.
Yeah, so what's cool? One cool thing about being part of the industry is you're able to hit up people that you do work for and have them do work to your truck. So that truck's completely built. It originally was done by Baja HQ, which they did a great job on all the modifications they made. But I built a relationship with Corey of RPG Off-Road, and we do their laser cutting. So we went over to their kit and with bypasses and stuff, and it's great. The only thing, if anyone ever listened to this and wants a Raptor, if you go to the longer travel kit on the highway, it's not as easy to drive. It's a little more squirrely, but in the desert, it's amazing.
It's amazing. That's the long travel on my truck is, I feel it's amazing on and off road, but on road, the steering, I gave up a lot of steering to be able to get the travel.
Yep.
So it turns like a school bus.
Yep.
It doesn't fit in parking garages. It doesn't do U-turns at all. So there's some downsides. There's some compromise, but your truck looks bitchin'. I know my truck looks bitchin'. I'm very happy about that.
Absolutely.
How bitchin' they look.
Yeah, for me, it's the story. I learned it's the story of life and sharing your experiences. I really try to make it a point. I have a moon buggy, the rock crawler. I'll let anyone drive it. I've let 10-year-old, 50-year-old, 40-year-old. When we were at Trail Hero later last year, I let 12 people drive it. They had to do something to win. You know,
just made their life.
And I mean, it's cool that when they get out and they go, man, that's the best. That's like the coolest thing I've done in my life. Like,
it's a
that's
very cool
so
experience.
Cool. And that's same with the rock crawling. There's a lot of people with the Desert Assassins that have never rock crawled before. So it's cool to get them in the passenger seat and bomb up Chocolate Thunder, and they just like, man, that's insane. I can't
believe I drove that. I can't even walk that night, and I drove it.
I'm really stoked. I had to pinch myself that I'm able to do what I love, and it's a business too. And it all ties together. So
you're able to incorporate your family, and
the families
in the Baja trips. Like, and I see what Cam has done with the trail emissions deal, and it's on ESPN. It's this fall. I was watching some college football, and I was flipping the channels before the game started, and there's your head, 50 on a 50-inch TV. I'm like, whoa! And before I could hit pause to see what I'm looking at, Jason Shearer pops on. I'm like, whoa, what is this? And I ended up watching that Trail of Missions show with Cam talking about everything, and then Casey Curry and you and Jason. I recognize those guys, and there's some guys I didn't recognize on there, but Kurt Leduc was on there. It goes as well, right?
Yes, and Kurt's great.
Oh, he's so awesome,
especially when he gets stuck. It's hilarious.
Does Kurt get stuck?
Yeah, he got stuck a few times his last Trail of Missions. And then I got to pull him out at one case, so it was kind of cool to be able to pull Kurt Leduc out, because he normally have a Jeep, and this time he built a Ford, a F-150, I think it was, and Kurt's good people.
That's one of the things that I feel blessed about, living all the way in Texas, but coming out to the West enough and knowing enough people and being in the community so long, that I've been introduced to people like that. So Kurt, he would open up his pit and stuff for Best in the Desert stuff. I would get a pit with him because of his relationship with Brian Smith and Easy Rick Mooneyham and the Currys. And so meeting him through that, it's like, this guy's just awesome. Yeah. And there's no wonder he's in the Off-Road Hall of Fame. There's no wonder he's who he is because of how cool he is. But I really find that, like the Trail of Missions, being able to share that with your family. You said you took your 3-year-old on it, and you go down there, and Jason Shearer said the exact same thing. You go down to Baja, you've got all these trucks, they're loaded with families. If you roll up to a beach, you get out, you surf, you float.
It's just
you
cool.
Have some cervezas, eat some tacos.
Yeah, and there's always cool people on the trip. I mean, there was Casey Curry and his whole family's cool, and then Ricky Barrick, who just won Dakar. He's a hoot. I mean, just people that you wouldn't. Jamie Beswick, he's a motorcycle or a BMX guy, and it just good times, good people. Everyone sharing the same passion,
the like-mindedness.
Yes.
Yeah. And I've said it before. It is somewhat cliched, but it's like birds of a feather flock together. We come from all different walks of life, all different regions, all different industries, but somehow there's a group of us that are still kind of wired the same. And well, there's about 80,000 of them similarly wired the same that are out here on the lake bed this week.
Absolutely.
Man, Cody, thank you so much for sitting down this morning. Thank you, Lindsey, for the coffee. Thank you guys for putting up with Caleb and myself and this crazy idea to film on location down here at Lasertown. Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Can I say one more thing?
Absolutely.
Or a couple other things. So if anyone's wondering if I'm gonna go back to Go Fast at this moment, we're gonna try this new adventure with Cameron and see where it goes. Maybe San Felipe. We do have a 6100 truck being built, which will be done in the summertime. Looking for a driver. Because I'm having a struggle because I get motion sickness. I get motion sickness driving my truck to work and back. I've had it my whole life. It's not an inner ear issue. It's just an issue I have, and I have a hard time driving in dust. Go fast is just not my thing. I've learned that,
and that's completely
and it's
okay.
hard. It's really hard to accept. But it just isn't my thing. So I feel if I can team myself with top drivers, guys in other classes that haven't had the opportunity to do Ultra 4, 6100, I think it'll be cool. So the goal is to keep getting.
I think you're spot on there. There's guys that can be amazing drivers that cannot sit in the passenger seat and co-drive, or amazing co-drivers that can't drive. It's, as you've seen in your business, you take where your strategic advantages are and you leverage them to the nth degree to be successful. And the key to doing that is knowing what your weaknesses are and leveraging them the other way. And I think that's very cool that you are cognizant enough, and the right word is not selfish. I think the right word is selfless, that you understand where your strengths are and your weaknesses are, and you have the capability and ability to put all these strengths together in the same basket, and hopefully that they have success together.
And that's a good point. It's a good point. Running a race team is, or hobby, whatever you want to call it, it's just like running a business, and you got to surround yourself with people that are better than you. Cameron Steele, he's a way better the driver than I'll ever be, or whoever else is going to be in the driver's seat. Or I've learned you surround yourself with people that are smarter than you, and you keep growing. If you surround yourself with people that aren't smarter, you're the smartest one out of the group. So I love to grow. I love to do new things. And I mean, when we went to Japan a couple months ago, and I've never been to Japan, and went rock crawling in Japan. I mean, that was a bucket list. We got a cool thing coming out in April, which I can't share, but it's going to be cool for all generations, which ties to rock crawling. I love new things and new experiences.
I love the way that you are putting your brand of DNA on the industry, on the sport, on the community. I think that's pretty cool. And as you said about surround yourself with smart people, I'm one of those people. If I'm the smartest guy in the room, I'm in the wrong room.
Exactly.
That's
so, and have a good time. And life is only as long as it is. It's shorter than it's short. It goes by quick, and the older you get, it seems like it goes by faster. And you just gotta enjoy it.
Well, Cody, thank you.
Yeah, thank you
for the short stint. Lindsey, for the coffee. You guys for just the hospitality this week. It's been off the charts. This is such a cool and eclectic little compound you guys have here. All right.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Well, good luck with your team.
Yeah.
When it comes to Friday, I'm going to be pulled for the Armada car.
I am
There's
too.
So many good people out
there. We gotta. Hopefully we have a good day. A lot of things have to go correctly.
You guys will have a good day.
I hope so.
Positive thoughts. Bring positive.
Yes.
Well, we are out.